Hey, what's up guys? A new skillless strategy is charged into Clash Royale to traumatize pro players. The ranked 25 player in the world is using this evolved recruits deck to beat the best players in the game. Recruits and wall breakers are the perfect pair because they both apply pressure on both sides. When they're split up, they almost always extract positive elixir trades from the opponent. When opponents don't have buildings in cycle, they won't be able to build a proper defense for the skeleton barrel, especially if they've already wasted their spells on the unbelievable amount of bait in this stack. And with ceaseless spam flowing at the opponent, they're destined to defend with units down the middle so the firecracker can cook up some damage. Even though this deck is oriented towards offense, it's got good defensive options too. You don't have to think much with recruits. When you place them down, they defend both sides. And Mighty Miner will melt golems, giants, and most win conditions. The combos in this deck force the opponent to be on defense almost the entire match, meaning there's more opportunities for them to make mistakes and get mowed down by your sinister spam. If you only have one evolution, use the evolved recruits. It's time to skilllessly spam with this rail pain of a deck and assert dominance. And we're spamming hearts to everyone that's supporting the channel with creator code SirTag. It's Darwinism time, and only the strongest will survive, which is definitely our deck, right? Like, if you look at the chain of creation for Clash Royale, you'll see royal recruits as the prime predator. It eats everything alive, and it doesn't let the opponent thrive. So he's going to dive in with a Hog Rider, and he's going to take a ton of damage from these recruits because the counter push is going to be menacing. If we can go for wall breakers and then we can drop a Goblin Gang in the middle, it's unlikely that he's going to be able to stop everything at once. Actually, we didn't have Goblin Gang. We had Green Goblin. Sometimes I look at a card, I'm like, oh, it's green. It's definitely the Goblin Gang. And then I'm surprised when it isn't. Anyway, he's going to have barely enough elixir to stop the skeletons. But yeah, again, the recruits on the right are just delighting in damage right now. And then it's not even over. We've just started our mission to be absurdly obnoxious. We're gonna drop the firecracker in his face, and then right when he thinks that the knight's gonna kill the firecracker, we're gonna troll him a little bit and drop the Mighty Miner. So now he has to deal with the counter-pushing firecracker that is always staying alive. It has a permanent residency in this game. So it's gonna activate King Tower, unfortunately, but it's still fine because obviously he's gonna lose most of the Archer Queen. We can pop the ability here, and I think that we're able to blast the Archer Queen into us, and then it's gonna take a bit more damage. We can go for recruits here, so then the Archer Queen does fall, and then the Hog Rider's not gonna get more than one hit, I think. That's just only one. Yeah, let's go. I was like, maybe I have to eat my own words and eat more damage, but it didn't work out like that. I'm going to go Skeleton Barrel on the right because all I need to do is kill the Tesla. If the Tesla falls, then the Skeleton Barrel is guaranteed to have that death damage on the tower, and that racks up over time. Oh, he's going to Electro Spirit, but it's going to be way too late. Oh my gosh. So as you guys can see, it's pretty much impossible to escape the fate of losing your tower because the strongest survive in Clash Royale, and we don't let anyone survive if they're playing a mediocre deck in the face of recruits. Recruits release relentless pressure. Look at them charging at my opponent right now. What is he expecting to do to stop this? There's literally nothing you can do but leave the game and sit there in astonishment as you lose everything. My man's mouth was left wide open with wows as his towers were left wide open for our taking. We got a game against Mr Dugout. It takes me back to the days that I played baseball. I was chilling in the dugout 24/7, 365, and it was so warm in there during the summer. Everyone was just chewing sunflower seeds and spitting them out and hoping not to strike out in baseball. So hopefully we can strike him out of this match, going in for our goblins on top of the wall breakers, and he goes in for an earthquake. He's already trying to shake things up. We did beat a Hog Rider deck earlier, so it's either going to be Royal Hogs or it's going to be the infamous Hog Rider Part 2 back at it again. In either situation, it's important for us to apply pressure because this is one of those decks that isn't necessarily the easiest for us to defend, especially if he has Royal Hogs because we don't have that much splash damage. And the Hog Rider, we can sometimes counter utilizing our Mighty Miner. And that's not a terrible counter. It'll still get some damage, but it's not bad. The bad thing is the Royal Hogs. I hate those. And I think that's exactly what we're matching into right now. So we have leveled up the difficulty in Clash Royale with this matchup. I'm going to sprint through with the wall breakers on the right-hand side to hopefully traumatize and spin around our opponent. Wait, what? Why does he have wall breakers? Dude, I could have never seen this coming. So he's playing wall breakers with delivery instead of playing the traditional sauce of the little pigs. So, okay, all right. My brain is malfunctioning at this. I don't understand what is happening. There are errors popping up everywhere, and my defense is demoralized. This is awful. My guy is actually winning after that play. What the heck, man? All right, I hope you're going for cannon. Please go in for cannon. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me, my guy. But now your cannon's done for. You're going to go in for a delivery. I was really hoping that he would go in for the delivery and the cannon would slightly be alive and the delivery would miss the wall breakers. I would have died laughing. Because if the cannon pulled the wall breaker slightly, then obviously the delivery wouldn't have been able to hit everything, and that's what we were hoping for. So unfortunately, we still take a little bit of damage from the evolved wall breakers, but it's not that much. The bad thing is the recruits are not going to be able to counter the pigs as much as I want them to. As much as I want to will their evolution to earn some splash damage, that's not really a possibility. So we have to pummel through and see what we can do. Definitely going to go right into a delivery and a cannon. It's not necessarily great, but it is what it is. It is our fate. We must spam. This is Sparta. So I don't think it's going to work, but maybe, hopefully. Can we arrows our way through the one evolved skeleton? That's working. Okay. Let's click the ability. Let's click the ability. Let's go goblins. Let's go in for a firecracker here. We need this to work really badly. There's no way. Oh, I'm dead. I mean, I can't go into Little Prince. I can't do that. I have to go recruits on defense into pigs. How am I supposed to stop this, though? He is using Earthquake. He is using Earthquake. He is slightly overcommitting. We can go goblins early, and then we can arrows, maybe? I mean, I think we're fine against the pigs. I don't think they take my tower. This is really close, but it's not enough. This matchup is horrendous. I cannot believe that this guy has rail hogs with wall breakers and then also like multiple small spells. What the heck, man? How'd you come up with this? You conniving sir. All right, we're gonna go Mighty Miner. We're gonna go wall breakers, and we probably need to get through the cannon here so then we can click the ability of the Mighty Miner on the tower. That's the only way I win. Mighty Miner needs to tank for the skeleton barrel, and then maybe we can go for a firecracker here, and then hopefully it's able to do enough damage. This is going to be so crazily close, but I think we maybe get it if the wall breakers can do some damage. Please, let's go! 100 HP in a dream into the face of a horrible hard counter, and we still explode through with the win. Digging out the win against Dugout gives me some nostalgia from my baseball past. And there's no doubt the memory from this win feels pretty good too. Yo, this guy's got Little Prince and he's already pointing at me with the banner. So I feel like if there was one card in Clash Royale that would be a self-described narcissist, it would have to be the Little Prince. It literally does nothing besides being the most selfish and egotistical card in the game. Do you know who I am? It screams. And then it just calls on the Guardian whenever it's in trouble instead of figuring out things by itself. And I don't know. It would be the least pleasant card to be around in person. So if there was one card that would not be my friend, it would not be the Little Prince. So I would want to go in for, maybe go in for goblins. Both wall breakers might connect. Oh, right in the face of a rail ghost. The ghost got ghosted and blasted. That is awesome. All right, we can go goblins after it locks onto our tower. And then I think we're in a decent spot to go in for a skeleton barrel here. And then possibly recruits. The way that you play this deck, unsurprisingly, is spamming recruits as often as you possibly can with your wall breakers. Sometimes it makes sense to go for a firecracker like right now because you can splash onto the tower and deal damage, but for the most part, it's generally just better to go in for wall breakers and going in for recruits in almost every other situation. We are going to go and drop our champion here and see if we can bait out more elixir. Like him going in for a battle ram into that means that he doesn't have a win condition for a while, and he's also spending a lot of extra elixir. So sure, he got the King Tower activation, but he's also just dropping stuff right into evolved recruits, and we're going to drop his units real quick. So I think I can go in for a goblin gang in the middle and split it up. It's generally the better bet because you're going to be able to get more bang for your buck when you're spending 3 elixir over 2. Might as well get more goblins so we can get more damage per second. And then if we're spamming bait cards into a activated King Tower, it's not going to work as well for us, but we do bait out a P.E.K.K.A. and we also bait out his archers. So he's spending a lot more elixir than he would typically want to drop. I think we can go for goblins directly on top of the archers because if you didn't know how they function, they get more damage the further they are away from their targets. So if you drop things directly on top of them, they're essentially useless. I'm going to go in for skeleton barrel, and I think that we're going to probably get something down the middle so we can firecracker again. Then we can go for a mighty miner and hold the knight in place and force out even more elixir. Going to go for a zap, which isn't ideal for him because then we can go for wall breakers, and then the mighty miner is going to get pushed closer to the tower. If you guys are unaware of that tech, it's extremely fun to do. Then we can go blast through with tremendous value, going in for the ability as well. Also, I think I can go for recruits directly on the magic archer. I want to orient them slightly off to the side so then the magic archer is not going to hit our tower. One of the worst things to have happen is you drop something to counter a unit in front of the magic archer, and the magic archer locks onto your tower, and you're just sitting there like, well, I guess I messed up. Oh, also, we arrowed on every one of his cards there. Wait, that's ridiculous value. The spear goblin's still in the tower. Isn't that so annoying when you counter everything besides one spear goblin from the goblin gang, and that little spear goblin that could just messes with your mental? That's what happens to me all the time whenever I'm playing against decks like this. The goblin gang traumatizes me. And there's one unspoken rule in Clash Royale. You can counter everything besides one spear goblin. So I'm going to go for a firecracker here, and then I can go for wall breakers. And then I think I arrows again after going for a skeleton barrel. But we're just unloading an unrivaled amount of offense on the left-hand side. And really, there's nothing he can do because he doesn't have a building. He's going to get reliably rolled by the wall breakers. Yo, Maddox. This guy is going to be a madman with a Mega Knight and a miner. At least that's what's in his banner. And he's going to go and spring through with the Ice Golem emote. So we'll see what we can do here with the wall breakers on the left. If I can get those to connect to the tower and force out some elixir from our opponent, that would be nice. I mean, idealistically, they're able to do damage, but if I get a +1 trade, we'll take that every single time, especially since we're sprinting towards our evolution, and the card that our opponent's cycling is not an evolved one. Obviously, if he's going to go for NATO, it's not really going to have an evolution, unlike Zap that somehow decided to get an evolution soon. I guess Clash Royale's weird way of buffing cards is giving them an evolution if they're underplayed. Like Zap is one of the worst spells in the game. And this guy's running it. He's like, yo, gotta practice for the superb evolution sauce. And obviously for me, we're going to go in for our recruits, because if we split up our goblins, it's a pretty cheap investment instead of cycling a firecracker that we might want as anti-air defense. Because I see Ice Wizard and I see Zap, I'm like, is this Mega Knight Balloon? Probably, right? And the cool thing about playing against Mega Knight is you have Mighty Miner, and then you also have the football team sacking the quarterback by surrounding it. So the Mega Knight died on our opponent's side of the map. Our recruits aren't even at their final form or near it. This guy has a lot more to fear of it. Because if we can go in for recruits, and then we can go in for the Mighty Miner, and then Firecracker, there's just so many different ways of dialing down and damaging down that Mega Knight. I'm going to go for a Goblin Gang on the right-hand side, because that's where we have the majority of our damage. And then I believe that we can Firecracker here just to cycle. And it will give us a little bit of chip damage. It'll probably put precedence on our opponent to defend that and spend extra elixir that he doesn't want to. Like that Ice Wizard. That thing is cycled into the abyss, and that's something that we won't miss. Because we really do not want to be playing against cards that slow down our offense of our recruits. In fact, we want their shields off, and then we want to take off and blast off towards the tower with our charging recruits. It's nice to be able to get that nice amount of damage where they're like mini princes. You can't call them little princes because that's already a card in Clash Royale, but I wish I could, you know? You stole the name of the card that we wanted to call Clash Royale. You did the name game before us. But truly, if there was a title of Little Prince, I think the recruits deserve it. They're a little bit better than Little Prince after all of the nerfs. So we're going to go in for our skeleton barrel here, and then I think I can go in for wall breakers. Wait, did this Mega Knight player already take a mega loss? Yeah, dude, he's already dead to the point that he doesn't want to play anymore. We traumatized the Mega Knight player to rage quit. And, you know, his deck should, in theory, do decently against us because it's able to plop down and destroy bait cards. But he got baited and had no Mega Knight for both sides. Even if you had a mere Mega Knight, you still wouldn't be able to afford it to counter our immense amount of pressure. Hey, Bruce Leroy! So the guy's a part of Samurai Japan, and I wonder if he's going to be ready to get assassinated by our recruits. I feel like this is one of the most obnoxious cards to play into. They got their little mask on. They're kind of like a samurai, but they got lances. And they're really ridiculous. They're rambunctious sirs, as they probably scrutinize every single defense for openings, and they look at you and they're like, well, that's easy to break through. So yeah, even though he's going to have Executioner, he is getting executed in the right-hand side, taking around 1,000 damage already. The one thing I dislike that we're playing into is someone that has Executioner and Barbarians, because Barbarians are built different against our recruits. If you guys are unaware, Evo Barbs do really well into recruits if you drop them on defense. However, this guy just let us wander our way through a Tesla and Barbarians to find pretty good damage. So, Bruce, are you ready to Leroy Jenkins, my guy? Leroy Jenkins! We're dropping the skeleton barrel at the river. I don't know why I love saying that, guys. I didn't even play WoW. I played StarCraft 2 growing up, but I guess the Blizzard culture is ingrained in me ever since I went to BlizzCon recently. So huge shout out to Blizzard for letting me do that. That was one of the most fun experiences. And a lot of you guys came up to me at the event too. So if you guys ever see me in public, always come up to me. It's fun to see y'all in person. Anyway, he's going to be going in for Executioner. And I think we can probably go in for Wall Breakers again on the right. It's unlikely that he's going to be able to do anything besides go in for a Barbarian. So maybe Firecracker would be better. I wonder, I should have went Wall Breakers, forced out the Barbarians, and then dropped the Wall Breakers earlier. If we dropped the Wall Breakers earlier, it's better, because then the Firecracker would have been able to get more value and just constantly get knocked back, so we wouldn't have had to spend as much elixir. Really interesting log from our opponent. That was smart, though. He made me go back with the Mighty Miner instead of dropping the Mighty Miner on the Executioner. And then because, you know, the Executioner was going to get closer to all my bait cards that I would possibly drop, they were in the danger zone, and I decided not to drop them. So that was well played on our opponent's end. But if we're constantly kiting back as Barbarians, I think it's okay. Also, maybe we're able to apply more pressure here and obnoxiously drop everything in the river, giving our opponent less time to build up an executioner. So that's pretty good for me. Spear Goblin locked on the tower. It's always the rule of one Spear Goblin. This is what I'm saying. It's a Spear Goblin game, guys. And it is everyone else living in the Spear Goblin's world. So I wonder if we're in a world of our own where we can go in for our recruits and then go in for some other spam afterward. Generally, dropping the recruits here is a bit risky because he could spam it that exact second with a Hog Rider. But fortunately for us, we do have Mighty Miner, so I don't think we would take that much damage. I just want to wait it out so we don't have to worry about the Tesla hurting me for so long. Now I'm going to Mighty Miner, and I'm going to go for Wall Breakers on the left. We've got double Evos in the house. Wait, can he possibly defend against 2 evolutions? I don't think so. I think we just win. Just win. That's the strategy here. If you guys have watched the live stream on the channel, our strategy is generally focused on just winning. Whenever we're thinking about losing, we just say just win, and then the prophecy rings true. Well, our royal recruits rang at the doorstep of his castle, and he had absolutely no answer. Hey, what's up, ban? I feel like he's going to want to ban recruits after facing this deck. There isn't a single person that's proud to say, hey, I love playing against recruits, because you're kind of screaming in agony and anger instead. That is the emotions that this deck takes from you. So I want to be able to go for arrows on top of this princess and also hit the Tesla, and I think it's possible. I think the princess does wander into the placement. Nah, it's not gonna. We'll just arrows on it a little bit earlier just so it's not able to splash onto our recruits as often, and then we can wall breakers. And against Goblin Barrel, we are definitely going to be primed up and ready to go for a Goblin Gang. That is going to be your best answer to counter Goblin Barrel effectively and take no damage, and you get counter pressure. So if I drop this fast enough, I take nothing. I hope I did. Yes, we dropped those goblins and we mopped them up for a 3-for-3 trade while also applying pressure. Oh, I missed the arrows. Oh, no, I didn't. I thought the princess wandered out of the arrows. I can't believe that our arrows are that intelligent. Apparently, they have a mind of their own. They're heat-seeking missiles. Also, the wall breakers counter Goblin Barrel in that placement as well. That is the best placement that you can do. And I like that I'm showing all these ways of countering Goblin Barrel early on. We're revealing the tech. So then you guys won't have to worry about it or think about it. You just do those placements, drop those wall breakers and also the Goblin Gang directly behind your tower in those spots. And the wall breakers are interesting because it pushes off the goblins off of the tower. And then the wall breakers are like, I take it for the team. And they just tank for everything. It's beautiful. Also, the other thing is the opponent doesn't want to adventurously endeavor in front of his knight to cycle things to counter our firecracker. Because if he does, then he's not really going to stay alive with those units because they go right into recruits. He also doesn't want to poison like that because that is a negative elixir trade. And then he takes the brutal bashing of our immense amount of pressure. We're going to arrows here to apply more spam, and then we're going to go Goblin Gang here. The Skeleton Barrel is probably going to do a lot of damage. Even if he logs that, that's not great for him because now he has to deal with goblins. He has to deal with Goblin Gang. And then we have Evolve Wall Breakers. So the list goes on of fun for us and misery for him. And as you can see, he is just taking damage like a champ. He is looking at it. He's like, why is this life? Why am I suffering? And it's going to be even worse for you, my guy. Because we can go in for a Skeleton Barrel, bait out the building, and then go and wander through with our wall breakers. This has to bait out the building, and we get it. That Tesla is done for. I'm going to Firecracker in the back. I don't know how well this counters the Goblin Barrel, but we're in our science lab. We're cooking up a new defense, my dudes. So yeah, we're going to go Mighty Miner. We're going to go for Evolve Wall Breakers. He's logging on them. No! Why? How? How did you know better, my guy? I hate the fact that he somehow made a prediction or something. I don't appreciate that. We would have won. All right, we're going to go in for goblins on defense here, and we're not going to take that much damage. And then we're going to go wall breakers in the right, and we'll see if we can get our redemption arc here. I think we get arrows on the Tesla and the princess, and I think that's our best bet. Both wall breakers connect on the right, and despite us applying so much pressure on the left, I think we're taking theft and committing all of his towers right now. Oh, we didn't take them all. I wanted to commit to offense on every single side, but we didn't snag the last one. Still, our offensive spam was dialed up to max while we dialed up the fun. If you're looking for the easiest deck, this is definitely the one. Spear the like button if you enjoyed today's video, subscribe for more daily content, and have an incredible rest of your day.